Yes, people, good man perfection back again with another video. This is the last of the Ultra MMA. There's going to be a lot to say. To quickly get into it, guys, if you're looking to kind of just quickly see the fight, the best thing to do is watch the video above. That will be the fight. That has nothing to do with philosophy behind the scenes and you know, what the organization's about and all that kind of stuff. Just watch the video. If it's Facebook, it should be above this video, directly above it. If it's YouTube, it should be to the side, and it will also be on both channels, my fitness channel as well. So you can just watch that video. It's a 7-minute fight. It's a 3D version, so you'll get to see different camera angles that people, different kind of angles that people have captured whilst I was there. I'll also leave the link to the Ultra MMA's cage camera. It's not the greatest. It's kind of, I think they could have done a better job, to be honest with you. I feel that it's not as close to the fighters I'd like it to be. For example, this picture now that you're seeing is recorded off of someone's phone. It's actually quite nice, if I'm to be honest with you. Whereas the Ultra MMA camera for this particular venue isn't as good as I thought it would be, you know. But they did warn us beforehand. Anyway, you don't need to watch the whole of this video. Just go just watch the video above on Facebook or watch it separately on YouTube. Right, so before we move into the video, let's understand why did we, what is the whole, we can't miss out on the purpose of why I actually started this thing. Right, so Cancer Research UK is what Ultra MMA is in, kind of you know, it's why they're doing it for charity, which is Cancer Research UK. It's going to a good cause. They've raised a hell of a lot of money and they're still continuing to raise it. So if you can, guys, every penny counts. And it's, you know, it's the fight against cancer. As you can see here, you can donate from as little as £6, probably even less than that, if you want me to be honest with you. Every penny helps, although I don't expect people to donate pennies. And then obviously, when I done White Collar Boxing London, my chosen charity of my own was for Mind, because there's a lot of people in my family that are afflicted with mental health, even myself, and you know, I've been to the depths of darkness and hell, and well, not hell, let's not go that far, but I've been in a pretty bad spot, and yeah, and it's nice that, you know, in today's times it's not so much of a bad thing, and you know, it's not so much, people aren't beaten up as much as they were back in the 90s for having mental health. It's as simple as that. Okay, people do have a little bit of sympathy. There is more what's the word there is more aid, there is more organizations out there that they can reach out to that will help them. Okay, so if you can, guys, you know, to keep these organizations running, please donate some money to them. Okay, right, so let's move on to let's move swiftly on to the philosophy on well, on what's been going on, really. I want to start with something now. I want to start with this. I want to start with Devin Haney, because this is important. This is important. It's really important, and it will tie. Just listen to what I'm saying, and you'll understand how it ties in. Right. So, this is Devin Haney and his dad. Devin Haney is on the top camera. He's to the left, and his dad is to the right. Devin Haney doesn't go. He's a boxer. He's got a lot of belts. He's a 130-pounder or something like that. He doesn't really get involved in the trash talking. He used to, but his dad kind of taken over. Here is a fan of one of his opponents, his future opponents, and the fan's coming on to a live that his dad is held with his son, and they're debating on whether Devin Haney is the real deal or whether Danny will beat this guy's boxer instead of Devin Haney. Well, whether he can beat, whether the guy at the bottom, his boxer, Gervonta Davis, whether Gervonta Davis will beat Devin Haney. Okay, but look at how he goes about things, because this is important, guys. This is important, all right? And then we can move swiftly on to other things. Let's listen to it.
Got that glass shot. That thing got a glass shot.
What city you in?
India love got ran. Every single one of y'all.
Hold on, excuse me.
India love got ran through.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, pussy. Go ahead, put your son the fuck out. Tank Davis would knock Devin the fuck out. Tank would knock glass jaw Devin out. Tank Davis would knock Devin the fuck out. Devin got a glass jaw.
I know you want to
Devin
talk
got a
fast,
glass. You can't talk, faggot. You can't talk when I'm talking. You raised a simp. Indian Love got trains ran on her.
Right. So, which brings me to the next video. Right. So, I was on the night of the venue. There were many fights. My friend was down there with his camera and he's filming these fights as they're going on. Okay. He did a splendid job, by the way. Big shout out to Mark Noonan. Thank you. He was down there with his camera trying to get all of the fights so that the fighters could see it afterwards and see it from a decent angle. Okay. But he sent me one fight and I'm listening to the fight and I was a little bit kind of, you know, it was a little shocking to me that whilst the fighter's in the cage, some of the things that his kind of supporters were saying, not only to the other, well, it was to the other fighter, but not realizing that a lot of these fighters spend 8 weeks, you know, training with people that are to a certain degree friends. Although on the night you are fighting each other, to a certain degree you are kind of friends. You understand? You go to kind of not attached to them, but you know, you go to kind of like them. And at the end of the night, you have to get things done. But these kind of supporters took things a bit personal and a bit unprofessionally, because I'm trying to be kind of diplomatic here. But let's listen to what some of the things they were saying. Let's. So, to cut a long story short, they continue saying certain things towards the fighter, and at the end of it, the referee has to go over to the guy and say, "Listen, could you tell your supporters to just kind of tone it down just a little bit?" And I know personally, for me, and you can see he was quite kind of, what's the word, edgy anyway. It is kind of, especially as your first time. This was my second time there, but as your first time in the cage and you've got so many people around you, it is a bit nerve-wracking, especially what I'll get into in a bit, if you believe your opponent has the edge. Okay, if you believe your opponent is slightly stronger than you or slightly more, a bit of a mismatch, you believe that you should have been matched with someone slightly more of your equal, and this guy, if you believe those things, there's even more added fear. So you've got the fear of the crowd, plus you've got the fear of your opponent being maybe a little bit more kind of stronger, more aggressive than you or whatever, right? The last thing you need is your supporters kind of making the situation harder by causing the referee to kind of stop the fight for a minute and then warn you to warn your supporters. Do you understand? So, but we'll end it on that. We'll end it on that note, guys. We'll end it on that note. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into my fight, okay? We're going to go into my fight now. Right, so guys, here's my fight. So this is the 3D version. It's been edited by different directions and this and that. If the camera quality is poor, however, do go on to click at the separate video on YouTube and you'll see a better version of it. And if that version is poor, then just watch the Ultra MMA's cameras there, and I'll put a link in the description, okay? And you can watch it directly from Ultra MMA whatever.co, whatever it is, on YouTube, alright? Okay, let me take myself out the way here, and then we can watch the video. Massive respect, by the way, to Tim. I can't remember the guy's surname. Tim, no disrespect, I cannot remember your surname, okay? Massive respect to Tim. It's sorry, let me quickly get back. Let me quickly come back, guys. You know, you got to understand that I was watching a video on YouTube, and I'll put the link in the description if you want, but basically there's two good videos on Ultra MMA, and one of them, the guy said, you know, you grow to kind of have a bit of a family bond with the people that you're training with. And that's something I'll get into later on in the video as well, because that depends on who you're training with. Some areas are more nicer than others. Some areas you can train with those people, but towards the end of the come fight night, they're looking to still kill you. They're killers, do you understand? And then there's other areas where you train with the people and it is like camaraderie, and it's hard to like want to go in there and destroy someone and really punch their faces in. It's really tough. But Tim, I did actually like Tim. Me and Tim were, you know, there was 3-4 older guys in there, and Tim was one of them, and I did like Tim, and it was tough for me to see Tim as an enemy. It was tough. So I can, you know, when this guy created this documentary and he's saying it's hard to see people like that in that light, and I didn't get it, I do get it now. It is tough to see them in that light. But me and Tim, you know, I believe we entertain the fans anyway. I think they want to see a little bit more bloodshed from me. But I'll get into that. I'll get into that in a minute. Let's just watch the video. Let's watch the video. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Second down, round two.
Alright, so guys, if the quality is poor again, guys, yeah, just go on to just watch it separately. So that's the video. Right, so where are we going to start? Where was I starting with this? Right, so before we get into other stuff, I just want to say this to people, and I said this. This is something I said before as well, right? When I was doing boxing, I think it was like white collar boxing on the 6th week. I think it was either 6th or the 5th, right? And I'll compare the. In fact, it's best that I don't compare the federations actually. But I'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, so cut a long story short, I was doing white collar boxing on the 6th week. I went in there, and me and this guy got paired together, and he looked like a regularly normal Joe. So it was a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. And I think I had my gum shield in, but I didn't have my helmet on. So he says to me, "Oh, damn, you know, you got to run and put your helmet on." So I went to put my helmet on. By the time I've come back, he's sparring with some other guy, right? He's sparring with quite big guy, right? I mean, he looks really. That's another thing, is that looks can be so deceiving. You generally don't know how much someone weighs. Like, I remember one guy saying to me, well, the white collar boxing organizer, I can't remember the guy's name now, Scott something. I remember him saying to me, like, you know, if I was to par you up, what are you, like 75 kilograms? If I was to par you up, I wasn't 75 kilograms then. I was 98 kilograms. So he was 22 kilograms off the mark. Do you understand? Looks can be deceiving in regards to how much someone weighs. Anyway, so he's sparring with this big guy, and then by the time I put my helmet on, the big guy, right? So he comes off, and it's me sparring with the big guy, right? And so it was a triad where it's you spar twice, then you have a break, okay, among 3 people. So he was the one that was having a break, and I step on to spar with this big guy, right? Now this big guy sees me, and instantly he's thinking I can go a little harder on Luke, yeah, which is fine. So I'm sparring, I'm doing my thing. The guy on the side starts shouting instructions to me. Put your hand up. Do this. Your hands aren't up, Luke. Jab him. This and that. So the same guy that was just sparring with the big guy, and the big guy was taking it easy on him, is now shouting instructions. Now, I respect him. The reason why I respect him is because although he's shouting instructions at me, oh, do this, Luke, do that, Luke, do this, Luke, he actually has the balls, cojones, to actually jump in there and spar. Do you understand? He actually has those cojones. Even though he's shouting things to me and I'm thinking, wait a minute here, you're trying to teach me how to fight, yeah? Is that generally how it goes, right? When this big guy really could have handed your ass to you. But fair enough. So he's telling me this, he's telling me that. So now the big guy has now sparred twice. It's time for him to step off, and this same guy that's giving me instructions, it's time for him to come on. So he comes on, and instantly I'm standing there. Bam, I jab him. I'm not jabbing him hard. Bam, jab him again. He tries to counter, but he's too slow, so he can't. Again, bam, bam, I counter him again. I move to the side. He tries to counter, he's too slow. Then I hit him again, right? In the end, he's so frustrated, he then starts to run forward with me, run forward into me, charging with his head down. Yeah, which happens really when we have no fighting experience whatsoever. Okay, it's kind of like a fight or flight panicking thing that we do where we run into someone with our head down. So as he runs into me, I give him a light uppercut, right? So remember, this is the same guy that had the audacity. Although I wouldn't even say audacity because I think he genuinely meant to try to help me with the instructions he was giving to me. Like genuinely saw things like, Luke, keep your hands up at all times and blah blah blah. But the point I'm making is it's different when you're actually in the ring. It's easy to stand outside and say this and say that and blah blah blah, but it's a totally different game when you're in the ring. Okay, he started running forward with his head up, and I started jabbing him. I never jabbed him hard. If I wanted to hurt him, I would have hurt him. Do you understand? And then I think it was time for me to come off after me doing that to him, and then the big guy came on sparring with him after I've done all of that to him. And the big guy basically is thinking, I don't want to hurt this guy. After Luke could have done that, I could do a hell of a lot worse to you. To you. Do you understand? So the guy again is running forward into the guy with his head down, and the big guy just gives him this one hard blow to his stomach, and that's it. He's over. He's TKO'd. And why I'm bringing it up is the next time I saw this certain guy, right, that was honestly trying to give like decent advice to me on how to fight, because he was kind of embarrassed by what was done to me by what was done to him by me and this other guy. The next time I saw him, he would turn his head away. He would say nothing to me. He wouldn't utter a word to me. It was almost like I had disrespected him, or for some reason, I wouldn't say he had a grievance towards me, but he was so embarrassed by, not being able to back up what he was saying and how he was treated by us. I mean, we weren't taking the mickey out of him. We were just kind of practicing on how to fight. But what he come to realize is that it's one thing to talk, and it's another thing to actually kind of get in the ring and experience that. Do you understand? And that's important, because it's disrespectful when you got people that don't really have the courage to jump in an octagon or jump in a ring, a boxing ring, and know what it's like, not only to fight someone that may be stronger than you, quicker than you, but do it in front of, say, 2,000, 3,000 people, some of them screaming derogatory things towards you, you know. So if you know someone that's doing this, please respect the fighter. Do you understand? Respect them, because it's cowardly and it's weak to kind of give all of these instructions at people when you yourself wouldn't have the balls to do it. You know, even women are doing it. Even have to give the props up to the women, because even for them, some of the women taking, like, just don't do it. Do you understand? You're not. Just don't do it, please. Anyway, so before it gets dark and my camera starts messing up, right? So guys, where are we going with this? Right. So let me take this out of the picture. Let me take this out. Right. Bear with me, guys. Right. So let's to quickly end this. So yeah, so it's been a good video. So what has my experience been like? Ultra MMA, there's a lot of stuff to learn within that. They say 8 weeks. I don't know if it was 8 weeks or whether it was 7 weeks training, to be honest with you. We started on the 5th of October and then we were done by the 22nd of November. So I don't know whether that's 8 weeks or not. But blinding trainers, there's so much to learn that you are really expected to kind of pay for sessions outside of the class in order to get up to speed. I didn't, hence why some of the trainers, whilst I was fighting, felt like, you know what, this is very limited what you're doing. You could have done, like, you should have ended it very quickly by doing this. You had him in this position, so you should have finished it quickly. But it's almost like you didn't know what you were doing when he was on the ground. You were just like trying to end it by whatever means, and you just stumbled across something that worked. Do you understand? Almost like you learnt nothing. That's how they felt. Do you understand? I think they wanted to see a little bit more of me brawling, but like I said already, guys, if I was out in the street, I'm not looking to brawl with you. Yeah, I think that Tim, big respect to Tim. At one stage, and I tried to be fair in my replays as well, because by slowing it down, you get to see that Tim actually did have skill. Tim actually can fight. Tim can fight. He can defend himself. Okay, I never saw Tim really fight in the 8 weeks that we were training. I saw little things of hints of something, but I can definitely tell that Tim's had some sort of martial arts training prior to that, which I didn't know. But that's a good thing, because if you're fighting someone in the street, you'll never know what kind of experience they've had, whether they're 7 years street fighter, 7 years taekwondo, blah blah blah. Tim had something, so um, I slowed it down so that you can see that Tim actually does have some sort of martial arts experience, and he was actually very good. I didn't, what's the word? I didn't underestimate him. I knew that he was, you know, I did believe he was slightly of an underdog, for me to be honest with you. And I knew that if I'm an underdog, I'm going to come out aggressively and I'm going to give it 1000%. So I knew that he was dangerous in one way or another. But I didn't know he was dangerous in his fighting skills. He was able to kind of duck underneath certain punches and this and that. And I wasn't expecting that, if you want me to be honest with you. Much respect to Tim. I think he's a lovely guy. In the summertime, Tim can come out to my house and spar with us in the garden, this and that. Getting back, they wanted to see me brawl with Tim, me take punches in the face and this and that. I took a few punches by Tim in the beginning because I wanted to land my right hand, and what happened is I didn't expect Tim to have knowledge of how to kind of counter, and I must have went in with a left and then a power right. I've leant my head forward, so my momentum's going forward, and Tim's kind of moved to the side and smashed me right in the left side of my face. It hasn't actually even gone down. I still got the bump there on my face. Do you understand? And I think that soon after, that's when I went to take him down. If you watch the video again, yeah, much respect to Tim anyway. Um, they they wanted to see a little bit more bloodshed from me, more brawling. They wanted to see people getting, you know, in. They wanted to see, like, you know, they wanted to see a good old scrap. But the whole purpose of me being there is to learn how to fight in the street. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to be brawling in the street. If I can take you out within 30 seconds, like Bruce Lee said, a fight shouldn't last more than 30 seconds. If I can take you out within 30 seconds, that's what I'm looking to do. I'm not looking to stand there and brawl. You hit me, I hit you. You hit me, I hit you. I'm not looking to do that. No disrespect to people that have done that. It's very entertaining when their family and friends come to watch it. It is really entertaining. Um, but it's not what I'm about. I'm not, because it's nice doing that with someone of your weight, which I'll get into. But what happens when you're brawling with someone that's say 15 kg above your weight, like I was in my white collar boxing? What if I stood there and brawled with the guy that was, and I say at least 15 kg? Let's get that straight. At least 15 kg. Okay. What happens when you're brawling with someone like that? What happens when you're brawling with someone that's 6'7"? There's one guy I was sparring with that was 6'7" in the Ultra MMA. What happens when you're brawling with someone like that? So, the point I'm making is that the whole brawling thing, it's fun to watch and it's entertaining, but when you're brawling with someone that's slightly heavier than you, you're most likely going to lose. Do you understand? So, me personally, I'm not really trying to brawl. I'm trying to kind of pick you off and and kind of um, kind of take the least amount of punishment. That's what I'm doing, And I don't even think I'm built that way. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think I am built to take that punishment. I don't think I'm built to be slugging it out and taking 15 punches to my head. I don't think I'm built that way. What the Ultra MMA experience has taught me is that you are more of a wrestler. You thought you was a fighter and this and that. You're not one. Do you understand? You might have been one had you continued, because you did train. I done training in my 20s, right, for about 18 months. I think I done for about 7 months. I done Taekwondo for 7 months, Wing Chun for 3 months. Or was it 1 month? Wing Chun for 3 months. Right. I'm sure I done Taekwondo for 7 months. I think I did Aikido for 2 sessions. I did Wing Chun. I'm sure it was 3 months, and I think I done boxing for 2 months. So add it up together. I done a year's training, right? I forgot where I was actually going with it. I forgot my train of thought, guys. All right, it's okay. So the point I'm making anyway is that had I have done boxing and all that kind of stuff in my younger years, I probably could have been a very good boxer. Could have been, very lucid and pap, and with my head and. But at 44 years old, where my motor skills. So what is motor skills? Power has diminished at 44 years old. Speed has diminished at 44 years old. Balance has diminished at 44 years old. Coordination has diminished at 44 years old. Reaction time has diminished at 44 years old. And have I missed one other thing? So we've got balance, speed, coordination, power, reaction time, and the last one I think is flexibility. Although some people will say body composition, which is muscle to fat. Fat to what is it? Muscle to fat ratio. Some people will say the sixth one is muscle to fat ratio. Okay, those things diminish when you're older. Do you understand? So, I don't have time to be kind of bobbing and weaving and this and that kind of stuff. That's not, it's got to a stage now where for me, I have to be sticking to the basic fundamentals in order to get me through a fight. I don't have that explosive energy that I had, which is in my 20s, which leads me to mismatches. Before, guys, I know I've been blabbing on for a long time, but this is important. This is important to anyone that's made it this far in the video. Mismatches, right? So, before I got Tim, I thought I would have been placed with someone different, someone a lot younger than me, right? 20 years younger. Now, Ultra MMA, they placed a few. Well, they didn't place a few. There was one person there that was fighting someone more than 20 years younger than them. That would be classed as a mismatch in regards to white collar boxing. Be classed as a mismatch due to the things that I just explained to you. As you get older, your reaction time simply slows down. Healing slows down. Power slows down. Speed slows down. Flexibility, all those kind of things slow down. Okay. Someone in their 20s now is almost in their prime. Almost in their prime. They say that they haven't developed man strength, but say by 23, 24, 25, you're really, really strong. You're near enough the strongest you're going to be. You could be the strongest you're ever going to be in your life. So it's a complete mismatch. Weight does count. unfortunately. Yeah. So for some people thinking, oh yeah, look, you know, you're a bit of a kind of softy because you're making up excuses for a lot of these things. Just get in there and have it. No, these things do count. A weight advantage counts. Height advantage counts. If you're fighting someone, again, if people don't know how to use their weight, then it's not going to count, right? If someone doesn't know how to use their height, it's not going to count. Do you understand? But a weight advantage counts. That's why in boxing, even something like 7 pounds, I think Tommy Fury was supposed to fight someone, and Tommy Fury came in at 7 pounds heavier, which is like what, 2.5 kg, 3 kg. The fight couldn't go on. Weight matters. In something like MMA, it's the difference between you holding a man down on the ground and the man being able to push off. Okay, age matters. Exactly the same thing with age. It's just down to another thing that I forgot is stamina. Your age deteriorates as you get older, especially if you've been smoking and drinking, all those kind of things. So age plays a vital role in in how long your endurance will last. Do you understand? A 20-year-old should be able to run a lot quicker for a lot longer. Hence why in white collar boxing, when we were doing the fitness tests, what was expected of a 25-year-old was different than what was expected of someone in their 40s. All these things matter. Um, but in white collar boxing, sometimes you may be paired with someone slightly younger. Now, it's okay if that younger person, um, again, doesn't know how to use their strengths, then that's okay. But if we're talking pound for pound, if I'm the fittest I can be at 44 years old and I weigh 90 kilograms and I'm up against a guy that's 25 years old and he's the fittest he can be and he weighs 90 kilograms, he's an athlete the same way I'm an athlete, I'm going to put my money on the 20-year-old or 25-year-old all day long. It's no different really than if you know, I would use the example of basketball, but in fact I use both examples. I'm playing 5-on-5 with my friends that are athletes, right? And we're in our 20s, and five old guys in their 40s, right, come up and say challenge us to a game of basketball. I would expect them to be annihilated. I would expect us to be doing, like, literally doing breaking ankles on these guys, like literally just just teasing them. There's nothing like just running circles around them. Football example would be you're playing, I don't know, 5-a-side football with, no, 10-a-side football with your friends or whatever it is, maybe 7-a-side, and 7 old guys come up and say, so no, say it was 3-a-side football with your friends, right? And they're all in their 20s, right? And then 6 guys come up, right? And they say, look, do you want to challenge us? And you look at the guys and they're old enough to be your dad, they're in their 40s, right? 6 athletes in their 20s playing football versus 6 athletes in their late 40s, I'd expect the ones in their 20s to so age does matter, height matters, and weight matters. Do you understand? Last thing I'm going to finish off saying, right, you made it this far, right? So guys, in the summer, I am going to have sparring in the back of my garden. So anyone watching this that lives locally, you can, if you bring your own gear, you can train for free. Otherwise, you can rent some of the equipment that I have, because if the equipment gets damaged, I don't have to buy it again. You will have to sign a waiver to say, you know, if you get, it is going to be like, again, it's going to be two on, one off. That's likely what it's going to be. So groups, it's going to be likely a triad. It may be more than that, but you'll fight twice and then you'll get a break, and then the next person goes on, they fight twice, they get a break. That's how it's going to be. Rounds of 2 minutes. It will be light sparring in the beginning, and then we're just going to go for it. Okay. Would I do this Ultra MMA thing again? Right, so Ultra MMA, guys, you were trained 3 sessions a week for 7 weeks, or 8, we'll say 8 weeks, for 8 weeks. I have learned a hell of a lot within that space of time. I think it's a blinding organisation. I'm not going to compare it to white collar boxing that only gave you 10 sessions a week free, because they're both very good organisations. White collar boxing London, although you only got 10 sessions a week free, again, you are expected to learn outside. They make it very clearly to you. You are expected to learn outside of this session. Otherwise, you're going to get your ass handed to you. But the organisation was very good, different, but very good. People said they preferred the venue of the white collar box in London, the way it was set up, and how it was set up in Ultra MMA. But I'm not gonna lie to you, like neither of them are better than the other. I'm glad I was participating in both. I would definitely say to people, take the journey that I took. Take the white collar boxing first, and then take the Ultra MMA. White collar boxing, although it was only 10 sessions, and the ultra white collar boxing maybe more than that. It might be just like the MMA. You might have 3 sessions a week. London white collar boxing was only 10 sessions, right? Instead of 30 or whatever, right? The rest of them you had to pay for. Whereas Ultra MMA, and I'm sure Ultra white collar boxing is free, 3 sessions a week for free, right? But there were some killers in there. And either you're cut out, either. And which brings me to the next thing I'm going to say. Just to quickly end this, right? So there's another Ultra MMA thing in coming up in February. I said I wasn't going to take part in this whole thing again because it is draining. I have felt slightly depressed after this. I feel drained. I feel tired. I lost 10 kg in weight. Although I've gone back to my weightlifting now, so come February, if I do take part in another one, I'm going to be beefed up. You're going to get a raw wrestling version of me, not no stand-up fighter. What was I going to say? Yes. I won't go back to Croydon. If I do take part in this Ultra MMA thing again, I will not go back to Croydon now. That's my area. Although my postcode really is in London, but it's a fine line between where I'm at. Literally like 10 seconds over the road, that's Croydon. And I'm right now in London. It's like, But I think London has a lot more killers in it. And what I mean by killers, I mean like people that really want to take your head off. Do you understand? That they got issues, and I think I want to be thrown in with them. Do you understand? But it's not going to be a stand-up game. It's going to be I'm just going to look to wrestle them. Do you understand? But guys, and yeah, and I may contact some of the old guys, Frankie, Georgie, Ericus, Tim, and see whether they want some of it as well. And we'll just go over there as a group to London. And yeah, with the big dogs, with the dogs that are looking to kill. And remember, it's not the final battle, it's what leads up to it. So I could train with Croydon and then request to fight someone on the other side, but it's not. That's what I'm trying to say to you. It's not the final battle. It's what's done behind the scenes leading up to it. So the point I'm trying to make is that I need to train with London, not Croydon. It's not about me getting to training with Croydon and then at the end of it I fight someone from London. I need to train with the big dogs, with the killers. Do you understand? And then at the end of it, fight one of those killers. That's how I would go. That's how I need to go about it. That would be my challenge. And this time, would I accept someone younger? I probably would, because I've had a little bit more experience prior to that. Do you understand? I wouldn't just go in there. I would sharpen up on my wrestling skills, sharpen up on maybe my kind of my punching and all that kind of stuff. Sharpen up a little bit on that. I'll be going in there a hell of a lot stronger, because by February, if I do choose to do it again, my strength will come back. And I was strong. I was one of the strongest in the class then. You know, I'm going to be able to hold my own. Let's put it that way. Do you understand? Especially within my weight category. I think I'm allowed to go up to 92 kilograms, which is a cruiserweight. That if they stick to that, because some people were fighting people outside of their weight range. And that's the last thing I want to say is that, please guys, do not blame any organisation, whether it be White Collar Boxing London, whether it be Ultra White Collar Boxing, whether it be Ultra MMA, for mismatches, unfortunately, because people drop out and there's nothing they can do about that. You get guys pretending to be tough, the same guys that are talking on the sideline about punch him in his face, knock him out and all of that. Those are the same guys that within about 3 weeks of training drop out. And what that leads to is mismatches. When they're trying to kind of organise fights towards the final bout or whatever, they can't, because there's not enough people. So you might get put with someone that's 10 kg below your weight, 10 kg above it, and it's a bit of a mismatch. It's as simple as that. And that's why I say to people, like, please do not get caught up in the winning and the losing, because if due to people dropping out, you're having to fight someone that's 15 kg above your weight or 10 kg below it, and they batter you, how can your friends say you're a pussyo and you're weak and all of this kind of who can look you in the face and tell you that? Do you understand? They can't. At the end of the day, it really is down to the organizers and how they match you up. And if you're paired with someone that's equal, then good for you. But it doesn't always work that way. So if it doesn't always work that way, I wouldn't worry too much about winning and losing. What I would worry about is turning up to every session during the 8 weeks, training hard, and what you put in is what you get out. What you practice how you intend to fight. So come end of fight night, it really makes no difference who your opponent is. You've given everything out of this body, everything this body can do at that particular age. At 44, I gave everything I could, blood, sweat and tears. So whether I won or I lost, I know the battle was with me, not my opponent. Do you understand? That's how I look at it. Right, guys, your boy Perfection is, not your boy Perfection, no, sorry, Good Man Perfection is out. I hope you've stayed with me on this video and learnt a few things. Combine the 3 videos if you want to know about the full experience of Ultra MMA. And that's it. Peace. I'm out. Thanks for listening. I love you all, yeah? Alright, thank you.